Why not show your happiness to the world? Big Moves provides high quality stickers and accessories made to spread happiness. Express yourself with hands-on art that's made for every big move. Our collection of inspirational, funny, trendy, and relatable designs make for the perfect gift for yourself, family, and friends. All of our stickers are printed and shipped with care right here in the US. Made of durable vinyl with a laminate cover, each sticker is made to stand up to indoor and outdoor use, waterproof and weather resistant. Don't forget to use promo code BMY Squalla for 20% off your next order. Yo, this your man Squalla. This is another episode of Always Everything with Squalla Podcast. And today we are talking about domestic violence. I have a special guest with me today. And you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Danielle Booher. I am a mom, a nurse, a life coach, a podcast host as well, an author, so much more. And I'm a victim of domestic violence. So I'm happy to be here and to talk about something that's really important.
Definitely. And domestic violence is one of those topics that I see people tend to avoid speaking about it sometimes. So we have to keep it in the know, like, because a lot of people are suffering silently. So as far as domestic violence goes, if it is defined as violent or aggressive behavior within the home. So, and it says typically involving the abuse of a spouse or partner. But I've seen it go even further than that. So there's family domestic violence, and then you have with children, all type of crazy stuff. But if you can do us a pleasure and share your story, that would be great.
Absolutely. So I have a joke, but I don't know if it's appropriate. But
Go for it.
No, because this is serious. So it's not appropriate time to do this joke, but it is about my baby daddy and the things that happened. So basically, I actually lived in Baltimore, which is close to where you are now.
Right.
And so I knew this guy for a long time. But the first situation of domestic violence actually was my first baby daddy. And this is one of my jokes too, because I have too many. So I was pregnant and he threw like a knife set at me. I was 9 months pregnant, like with the block and the knives in it. Miraculously nothing hit me or the baby. Like it just went all around us, like those throwers. Right. And then, or he like would throw the phone at me and then I would be stupid and he'd be like, you go buy a new one. We're 18 years old as well. Yeah. And go buy a new one. And I'm like, oh, and then he broke blood vessels in my chest. And when I was also 9 months pregnant, so I got a restraining order on him. So that's the story about that. For some reason, at that age and that state of mind, I was strong enough to be like, peace out, Cub Scout. So I left. And so then I got with somebody worse. And here's the thing, people will manipulate you. And this person is a narcissist, 100%. And so he knew the other guy, and because we all lived around the same area, and he knew how I was being treated. So he used that to get with me and to be like, oh, I never would do you like that. And he was like 600 times worse. So he bit me, like his right is there. And so he would do all kinds of stuff. Like he would rip off my clothes so I couldn't leave. He would chase me with a knife, cut the tires and slash them, and then change the tire and then take the car that was mine. He threw me up the stairs, but this is the funny joke because he was not nice. He's 5'4" and I'm 5'7". So that's the joke part. And then I say like he chomped down on me like the jaws of life, and then when he let go, all I could see was his extra row of teeth in my hand. So I screamed out shark bait, ooh la la. But it's not funny though. But here's the thing in life, like, so that is actually funny, but it's not funny to get hurt. And so I stayed in that situation for so long, and it got worse. Like one time he beat me so bad that I couldn't even barely sit, and my kids like were standing at the door screaming. It was horrible. They were little. And he like took my son and like dragged him up the street. So my son thinks that he kidnapped him. That's not his son. It's my first son. And he's 21, and he just said at Christmas that he was kidnapped by that guy. And I'm like, honey, it was like 10 steps away. We were right there. Everything was fine. You weren't kidnapped. But in his mind, unfortunately, you know, and I ended up living in a homeless shelter when I was pregnant with my second one because he was in prison. The guy went to prison. Shocker. And it wasn't for beating me. I wish it was. But yeah, so it was stuff like that. And it just was, it was really hard, but mentally I wasn't strong enough to even like, I was like, it was weird. It was like it was an outer body thing. Like I was just like kind of just skating through life and just surviving. And I was listening to the things that he was saying about me. I believed those things. So and it's horrible. But yeah, I mean, that's some of the stuff. There's probably worse things, but um it just got to the point where I actually left the state eventually to kind of get away. He finally moved out, but then he was still around, and I just didn't feel safe. And that was finally when I got to the point where my foot was down and like I can't do this anymore. And when the kids got old enough to realize what was going on, you don't want them to go through that. And I think that's what kind of snapped like, oh my gosh, your kids are gonna be like this. They're boys. I'm like, I don't want them to be like this when they grow up. And so but no, I want everybody to know that I don't think it's funny at all. So I don't want you to think that it's a very serious thing. But if you can look back at your life and like laugh about it, it helps you get through it and past it. So that's why I do that. It's not funny if you're going through that right now. You are going to be okay. You got to get out of it though. You got to get out of the situation. No matter what, I went to a shelter, like whatever you can do, you got to get out. So it's not funny. I don't want you to think that I think it's funny, but now that I got past it, I'm like, you know what? Like, thank God I'm alive. I could have been dead. I actually was like bleeding out one time, and like isn't a long story, but anyways, I could have died. But I'm glad that I'm not. So yeah, it's not funny. So I'm sorry. I did stand up comedy just to let you know, and then you from your trauma and your past, you start right stuff. So that's my story. But yeah,
that's crazy, yo. Man, and I definitely understand from the perspective of like being a stepson, because my mom had a guy, and he was like, fuck it. Like, yo,
oh,
man. So I could tell that story. So like, what I was maybe, I'd say seventh grade is when they started dating. So I didn't really see him much during that time. I know my mother would bring him to my football games and all of that stuff, but it wasn't until the next year is when he moved into our house. So that happened, and it was not, man. It was like he went out of his way to freaking bother me. Like he destroyed my room before, like throwing furniture around. It was crazy. And in the midst of that, my grandmother had passed away because she used to live with us too. So it's like once she passed away, it was just me, my mom, and this dude. Like, so, like, I don't even know what it was. Like, it was so much. It was just total chaos. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. Everybody was arguing, yelling everywhere, just chaos. And then it was to the point where him and my mother weren't even in the same room. Like I don't think he ever abused my mother physically. It was more mental than anything because he was always yelling, screaming, fucking. It was just chaos. That's what it was. So it was like it got to a point where he's in one room, I'm in one room, my mom's in one room, nobody's moving around. He's walking around, and nobody else is doing anything. And you know, situations like that is never good. So like, I definitely like relate to where when your son was like, I know how it is. I got to I actually devised a plan to kill that guy.
Mhm.
And I was gonna do it, and guess what happened? The day I was gonna do it, the police came and got him.
Wow.
Like it was crazy. Like I was literally about to go do it, and the next thing I know, the police are everywhere because he did something somewhere else.
Wow.
Crazy,
Divine intervention.
right? Because
You hope I'm glad you didn't do that and so because you would have been in jail forever and for a long time. I mean, you were little, so but still, that's not a good way to go. That would be on your conscience and it would bother you, even though that guy was horrible. It
right,
still would and so yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Things happen in mysterious
it's
ways.
crazy.
Um,
Like once he left, the peace was restored. Like it was like a weight lifted. Stress was it was nice.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah, I say I feel like because I went through that, like I really still have animosity for him. Like I still think about it. Like I remember it like it was yesterday. And then there's the fact that like I knew we were off camera, we were talking about it, but we were talking about PTSD. It's like I kind of found myself being argumentative, like even not even trying to be just I'm always in defense mode.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stemmed from that. So
Yeah, mental, it's bad. Like physical is bad, and I've had all of them. Like even with my who became my husband, and then I got divorced. That was a lot of mental abuse, and even like manipulation, like narcissism, like all that stuff is like they're trying to control you. That's abuse.
yep.
You don't realize it sometimes, and that's sometimes no offense because I've had both. That sometimes can be worse and more debilitating than the
Oh,
physical.
yeah.
And so, but I'm sorry you went through that, especially as a kid or see, yeah, that's really hard. Like, and then you want to protect your mother, and like you said, and so,
It
um,
was the only word that I could see that fits it is just chaos. Like you had to be there. Like it was the craziest.
see,
Like
you're laughing. It's not funny, but
I'm
it's
laughing because like I
yeah,
looked back at some of the things and it was just like, yo, he was doing the most for no reason.
right.
No
So,
reason.
yeah, it's not funny that I got bit, but it's funny that I'm now 40 and this was 20 years ago, and I still have the marks on my hand.
It's
And so
crazy.
it's like, it's kind of funny, like a grown man bit me. Like, that's the funny part. It's like, what? Like, why did you do
Yeah.
that? So, so yeah, so it's not funny but the good thing is like we're blessed because we got through it, right? And so like your mom's okay, right?
Yeah.
And
Everybody's fine.
good.
Everybody's cool. But it was just like during that time, it was like a dark cloud. Like
Yeah.
there was no like it was crazy. Like I remember during that time period, I think I might have even stayed back in school. I don't remember if I think I did summer school or something. But
Wow.
it was wild.
Aw.
But it's cool though. It's cool. I I I, I feel like things happen. I feel I'm a spiritual person and I believe in like I don't know if you call it fate or whatever. But I feel like everything that happens is supposed to happen for whatever reason. So it's like whatever it happened, it was I got whatever I got from it. It helped me grow in one way or another.
Mhm.
That's how you gotta look at certain situations. So I have a list of all types of domestic violence or abuse. Because I know some people probably, I've heard of it. I've never encountered it for myself, but I've heard that some people are unaware that they are in an abusive situation.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a brainwash, like you said, control,
Yeah.
that could even stem like even an unhealthy parent-child relationship. It goes a lot of ways. Then there's physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, intimidation, which is when I look back on my situation, I feel like that was more like then it was mental, but the intimidation factor was definitely because I was like little seventh grader, eighth grader,
Yeah.
and he would man up on me like do something, like
What? What in the world? See, that person has something not right. In
it's
the
crazy.
upper parts there. That's not right. Like what? Really, you got to show your manhood to a little child? Come
Yeah.
on.
So
That's crazy.
it's crazy. It is. Then you have isolation. I don't know what they mean by isolation. Hmm. Oh, I could think of a situation, isolation, like an example, like maybe a person may, like you may be with a person and they'll take you away from your
Mm-hmm.
city, your
Yep.
family, and then once they get you out here in the middle of nowhere, only they got you, you only know them.
Yeah.
Now it's just,
That's it.
yeah,
That's exactly it. Because again, that's control. So the isolation one, like it has a lot to do, like if somebody's narcissist or whatever, they'll try to control stuff and they will try to isolate you from your family or the things that you
mhm,
love, or try to get you away from those things so they can have like the mind control. And then like, the saying divide and conquer.
right.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to literally get you away and be like, here you go. Now you're stuck and have a good day.
Yep. And then
And
you,
so, yeah, it's, oh boy.
and
Okay,
then,
go ahead.
and then there's something on here that I've never seen, and there's economic and financial abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that one.
I have. So, it can go as a, okay, so I'm a nurse. And say, for instance, financial abuse can be um, the 50-year-old daughter is now taking care of their mother, and
Mm-hmm.
their mother gets assistance and they're stealing it. That's financial abuse.
Mm,
So say, for instance, like, um I'm only helping my 30-year-old kid who has um a disability because I want to take their disability check. That's financial abuse. Is that you're taking away their means of living and you're making them think that they need you so you can live off of it. That's part of it. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, it happens to like the elderly, happens to people with like I said, disabilities a lot. Even their parents do it to them. Or maybe if a person only dates a person with a disability to take their check and stuff like that, like that's a form of financial abuse. I believe that's a maybe just mostly a medical thing, but it's literally is the same thing. Or think about if a man is a
is that
millionaire.
like the Britney Spears situation?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's absolutely that. They took away they had that whatever ship, whatever it was, and they took away her rights to all of her stuff and try to deem her
That's
unfit and
crazy.
unfit. Right. That's exactly it. You're right. And that's very sad. Especially if you earned it and like, or you deserve it or you need
Right.
it like to live off of. And that's also mental, I believe, too, because they feel like, oh, you don't deserve it, or we need it, or you need us, or whatever. And it's really sad. The elderly, how many people I've heard that's happening to, and they're like 80 plus years old.
And,
It's disgusting. It's
and,
sad.
and let's touch on elderly abuse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I witnessed
Terrible.
I witnessed it firsthand.
You did.
I was working as a janitor at the nursing home.
Oh.
Yo,
Oh.
But everybody listening, if your family is at a nursing home, regularly go there more than one time in the day. Like
Yep.
the stuff that I seen, these are professionals, and they would tell me because I would tell the nurses like, why do y'all have this person just sitting here like for hours?
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse would tell me, I'm the nurse. All right, I'm gonna call the hotline on you.
You should. You should have. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it a couple times. I ain't gonna. Yeah, I had because it's crazy. So I'm working in a nursing home, and this is in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I'm down there, get a job as a janitor at a nursing home. I'm just noticed. I'm just looking around. I'm like, okay, they have this lady. She can't talk. And she's been sitting in the same
Yeah.
spot. Like I'm sweeping and mopping around her at this point in the hallway, like not in the room, in the
Right. In the yep.
hallway.
A shame.
Then you have this one lady, I never forget, her name was Miss Brown. She would always try to escape.
Oh.
Like it was that bad. It was like, and you know, my boss, the janitor boss, he would just be like, just act like you don't see it. Just ignore it. And I'm like, what? Y'all look crazy. I said, I cannot ignore that.
Mm.
The patients is telling me, help me get out of here. I'm like, like, I had to quit. I had to get out of here. I'm like, I cannot stay here. I'm gonna end up knocking one of these nurses out. Like
Wow.
I couldn't. I was like, I
It's
would never.
let me tell you, unfortunately, that happens in every state. I worked in Maryland as an aide at a nursing home and a
I hope
oh,
the
actually,
people are
I
listening. The people have to pay attention right now.
yeah, seriously, like to be honest, first of all, I think that's financial abuse because it costs so much to live there. People have to give up their homes and do all these things and sign over stuff because they sometimes they can't not work to be there with their loved one all the time. And it is a shame. Like it's so sad and like sometimes they can't be there a lot or some people don't have any family and they end up there. But if you
That's
have someone,
worse because there's nobody, and
it
the
is.
nurses see that.
And it's sad. And I worked. I just want to say I was a nurse in a nursing home, and I never would harm any of my patients at anywhere, no matter what. I work in a
Right.
recovery room now, but that's my thing that I do now. So, anyways, but when I was in a nursing home, I would feel bad because we had so many. That's another thing. There's not enough staff, and you have to take care of. One night, I had 48 patients by myself. That is not legal, and so sometimes,
48 patients.
yeah, and sometimes it's not that the nurses are ignorant or rude or don't care. It's that sometimes there's not enough time, or maybe there's somebody that's like, for instance, like I had to do my blood sugars by myself, so I have to like sporadically go to different rooms and do those because they can, they need their glucose,
Right.
they need whatever, their insulin, or if they're low they need this. So you have to, I mean, it was a mess. And so I would never intentionally hurt someone, but it got to the point where I had to quit too because I was like, listen, I cannot. They took away the wall oxygen from ventilator patients. So on a ventilator, they took away the wall oxygen and put them on concentrators. If you know what that means, that's ridiculous.
I
Okay.
don't know what that means at
So
all.
what it means is the wall oxygen gives you a higher concentration because it's hooked up to hoses in the wall. Okay. A
Okay.
concentrator is a little block of thing that holds oxygen. Okay. Somebody that's on a ventilator and is dependent. So have you seen like, oh, for instance, Damar, like the
Yeah.
bill
Okay.
player, he
Right.
was just on a ventilator, but like in his mouth,
Yeah.
like it's called an endotracheal tube. This is getting a little bit too medical, but with these patients, they have like the hole here, like the trach. So the patients at the nursing home, and there was like a skilled side and a different side. the RN, which is what I am, we would have to take care of them. They took away my respiratory therapist. Okay. That's the person that gives the breathing treatments and does the ventilator stuff. They took away that person and left me by myself to do all that. Okay. It got to the point where I worked 20 hours one day. How is that safe?
In
It's
one
not
day,
safe.
that's crazy.
Right.
You might as well get a bed yourself.
No, thank you. The funniest part was my shift was say 6 to 6. I don't remember. It was a lot of years ago. Say 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I stayed until 1 p.m. Okay. They called me while I was at the parking lot. I just left from the night shift. I'm in the parking lot and they said, "Can you come in at 3?" And I said, "Seeing as though I have not left and I'm in your parking lot from my shift last night, no, I may not." Right. And so that's the whole point, is that I want people to know that it might not be just like your instance. That's horrible that they did that. And I've seen that too. But sometimes it's literally there's not enough people to even take care of all of these patients, and that you're running ragged, or there might be things that come up, and it's just, and so being there regularly and knowing what's going on, knowing the staff, knowing the people in the front, that's important, because you are your family's advocate. Okay. You need to advocate for them, and you need to be aware. Like he said, it's so important, because I mean, all kinds of things, they get bed sores sometimes. Different things are happening, and it's not okay. And that can make them, maybe they were actually getting better. That can make them worse. And so
then at that nursing home,
oh,
at that same, for like, I swear to God, for like 2 weeks straight, every day, they were coming and taking, the morgue was coming and taking something out of it. Every day for like 2 weeks. It was, that's when I quit. Once I seen that start happening, I said, "Oh, nah, I got it out of here."
That place is horrible.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And you could tell when somebody passed away, because they would lock all the doors, they would close everybody's
doors. Yep.
And I'm like, what the heck? Like when I first seen them, I'm like, what's going on? They're like, they don't want the other patients to see the, and I'm like, that is crazy.
Yep. It is. And oh boy.
Yeah, that type of, I'm not gonna give up the name of that spot on this podcast, but it's in Fayetteville. If you in Fayetteville, check on your people.
If you're anywhere, check on your people. Yeah, it's important. My sister worked at one in West Virginia, and the stories she has, I'm like, not from her. She didn't do it. She had to go to court as a witness.
See what I'm saying?
It's horrible, because she's a good person. She's a good and I think she was an aide, then became a nurse, and then became an RN. So she was an aide, an LP, and an RN. But she, as one of her jobs, she witnessed it, and she took up for the patient, which you should, the resident, and she had to go to court. And it's horrible. I mean, like, you have people that are going to take up for them, but if they're not in the room, they can't. It's just, I don't know. It's sad that we have to talk about any of this stuff.
I don't want to I don't want to really get too deep into the elderly abuse, but like, I really have to, because like, in my short time at that nursing home, I saw the most craziest, like, down to sexual harassment to the patient who was paralyzed. Like, yo, yeah. So they're slamming them on the bed. They're getting angry at these patients.
Oh.
They are, like I said, leaving them sitting for hours in the hallway like furniture. Then you have what? They telling me to ignore it, to act like I don't see
it. Horrible. I'm sorry. That's horrible.
It's too much that goes on in a nursing home.
And talk about PTSD. Imagine them, like, how they feel, that's traumatizing.
Then they have to stay there.
Yeah. Like, that's sad. I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't, I don't think I could ever work in a nursing home again, because it mentally was too much. When my last day, I worked night shift, and I got off in the morning, and I was saying bye to my people, and in my residence, I loved them, and they would go, "Okay, see you tonight," and I'm like, "No," because it's like, "No, I'm leaving," and I'm like, "Okay, see you tonight," like, "No, no, it's my last day," and so that went on forever.
Oh man.
But I went back and visited another time, and
Right.
it because they're like family, like you're there so
Yeah.
many, you're there all the time, so they become my family too. And so mentally it was a lot. Like I cried when I left. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to leave because I didn't want any harm to happen or me to lose my nursing license, and
Right.
because you just can't do it all sometimes. And but like I really got attached to them, and I loved them. So that was very hard, but you know, it
Yeah,
is what it is.
it is crazy. So, as a nurse, do you get a lot of domestic violence victims, domestic abuse victims that you see?
Well, you do, but lots of people don't talk about it, just like you said.
Yes, they suffer in silence. Just
Yeah. And they'll say like, "Oh, I got this from a fall," or "This happened," or see, and pack you see, in recovery, the family's not there. In pre-op, the family's there, so they wouldn't openly, and that's when you ask those questions.
right,
They wouldn't really say it in front of them. Sometimes people will open up to us, and then I'll say, they might say something that's like in their mind a joke, and I'm like, wait a minute, did this really happen, or is this the, oh, no, 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 no. And so, but you can't
right.
prove it, and then they're under drugs, so they had anesthesia, so it's like, but yeah, people have been through a lot, or you can tell sometimes on how the person talks to them, and it's it's hard, and we're supposed to we have to report stuff, but sometimes you just don't know, and you can't just willy-nilly report things and hold somebody there because you assume something. So if they don't have physical markings on them or something like that, you can't just assume because somebody yelled at them on the phone that they're abusive. And it's sad, and you hope that they're not, but sometimes you can just pick up the vibe, the energy from the person, and you're just like, "Oh, that didn't sound right." But unfortunately, yes. And like I said, like we're supposed to report all those things, even to children or whatever it is, like abuse to anybody. But it's very hard to prove those things, and that's the hard part. And people are scared. And I lived in fear so long that like I'm so glad that I don't have to anymore. And so yeah, if you're listening, I know it's his podcast. I'm like not trying to take
No,
over.
go
But
for
if
it.
you're
Go for it.
listening, do not think that you have to live in fear, because you are worthy and you are loved and you deserve the best. No matter what. I used to get like beat and hit, and I was pregnant, and I lost the baby, and he like was beating me up on the hill when I was pregnant. And but he would say like he loved me. That's why he hit me. Like, what? And then at the time I'm just like, that doesn't make sense, but you think it doesn't make sense. So if you're going through any of these that we talked about, and if he has more, just know that this is not acceptable. This is not love. That's not love, right? And even if you have kids, you've got to escape, especially for you and their well-being. Because if something happens to you, God forbid, and you're not there for what's going to happen to your kids,
Exactly.
right? So we have to make the brave choice to say, you know what? I don't need this. I don't deserve this. I have to go. Even if you, like, I know so many people that are like, how am I supposed to take care of 4 kids by myself? Guess what, everybody? I left the state 2 times. I'm in Georgia now. I went from Maryland to Ohio, and then I went from Ohio to Georgia. When I left my ex-husband, I came here literally like only with clothes and kids. And guess what? I have a great life, and I'm happy, and everything's okay. And I'm with a guy that has never put his hands on me, doesn't call me names, doesn't treat me any kind of way. And I've been with him for 4 years, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's possible. So when they say nobody's going to love you but me and all this baloney
Right.
cake, don't believe it, because you are beautiful and you're awesome. Even if you're a man and you're going through this, you don't deserve it. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're handsome, you're all those things that they tell you you're not. You can do it. You can go, you got to get out of it for your sake, so you can live and be happy and free. You got to. That's all. I'm sorry.
No,
I got on a tangent because I'm very passionate about it, because I can feel
right.
it, you know. And you go back to the times where you witnessed that, or the things that you've been through, or you witnessed the elderly abuse, or your mom, that situation, and you can just, you feel the pain, and you don't want to live in that pain and that fear and the darkness. He said it's not healthy. It's not good.
Right. So why is it that, I know you were in this situation, so why is it that it is so hard for the victim to leave the situation?
You know, everybody's different, but I think it's just because, like I said, like, I think that there's fear. And so, say for instance, you maybe the person that, which was not the case, he did not make all the money, but say maybe the person makes the money and you don't, and you're like, I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go get my own place. I don't have nowhere to go. And then you're scared and you think that you need that person. Or maybe you have a kid with them, which is my situation. And then you're like, oh well, it's not, you know, I don't want them not to be around their dad, or well they're a good dad, but they're just not good to me, or whatever. But guess what, if they're hurting you and you're the mom, that's not being a good dad at the time, right? And so that's the whole thing that you don't. And another thing I just learned from a coach, because you know, I'm doing mostly grieving coach,
Right.
life coach, but I just learned from another coach, and he says that, like, when you're in the screen, you can't see the picture. Like, how freaking, like, when you're in the frame, you don't see the picture.
Exactly.
And so that's exactly it, I think. And everybody's different. But I know somebody that's was going through it recently, and it's hard to see it now on the outside. It's like you don't realize it sometimes when you're going through it, right? Or if you have an addiction, that's with anything. You might have an addiction, you might have like me, I eat too much food. Uh but like, you know, you might be uh going through something that other people can say, hey, you just need to quit. You need to quit drinking. You need to quit this. You need to quit that. But they're not going through it. They don't know why you're doing it, or what chemically and about, like, how you're feeling or what's happening. So it's easier to say than to do. But I think that's what it is. It's mostly like fear, or just they're comfortable, or they just get content with it, or they just feel like, you know, maybe they don't deserve better, or the person is just manipulating them and they don't really realize, like you said, how bad it really is.
Right.
And that's the sad part, especially the mental abuse. Of course, physical, we know, right? We know somebody is hurting us and making us bleed, putting bruises on us, those kind of things. But mental is very hard, or the isolation, or those things, and they all kind of come into mental. And so that's the hardest thing. Is just sometimes you don't even see how serious it is until maybe it's too late, which is not good.
And I've been telling people this for a little while, like, but and a lot of people say I'm reaching when I say this, but are you familiar with Blueface and Krishan Rock?
Blueface the rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, they are getting paid for being a toxic relationship. Like,
Oh boy.
so it's safe to say, in my opinion, that the entertainment industry is capitalizing off of domestic violence. And maybe that may be a reason why it's so prominent in the world, because it's been seen in entertainment. So you have shows like Bad Girls Club, Love and Hip Hop. You see what I'm saying? And if
Yeah.
all they're doing is fighting, literally, the whole show is the big fight. Like, it's all drama, all toxic, all just, and they put them all in the same house. And then they say domestic violence is problems that's them within the home. So if they're all living together and then that's domestic violence. Like the country is promoting domestic violence. Real Housewives, all them shows are
I
crazy.
was about to say that one. Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Well, that's the sad part is that like people love the drama. And so they'll watch the reunion because everybody's gonna
Mhm.
be at the reunion, right?
Yep.
And so, but that's what you're saying is that it's it's that's not healthy. Like, so we're kind of like pumping up the fact of, ooh, I want to watch this because you know how many times I see on my, well, okay, and I'm 40, okay, so my friends, a lot of them are 40, and so they'll write like, is so and so gonna, uh, who killed so and so, and I'm thinking it's like a real thing. It's on a show, like, and it's
Mhm.
like, who stole so and so thing, or who's gonna stab so and
Yep.
so, and I'm like, what, guys? So it's just, I mean, and I'm not knocking people if that's what you're into, go ahead, whatever. But the thing is, like, you're right, that's like glorified, like
It's
the,
crazy.
and it's sad because there's like real people in gangs. That's, it's not okay. It's real life. Their life
Yep.
could be lost at any time.
Yep.
So it's not, or like real people dying from
Yep.
look at the show Snapped. Like, it's not
Yep.
okay. You know, this is real people that lose their lives or get paralyzed or whatever. And I mean, I interview so many amazing people that have been through hell with mostly it's women that have been through it, and they tell me stuff that I cannot even imagine. And I've been through things, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like busting open a head, have to have brain surgery or something like that because of, I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible and it's sad, and it's like we don't value sometimes life like we should. Like, life is precious. It
Mm.
is, it is to be valued, right? No matter how mad somebody makes you, like, do not hurt them. Go, leave the situation.
Mm.
Like, leave. It's just not okay, you know. But I mean, you're right. Like that, I don't know. Just it's just a whole bunch, the industry and stuff that, um, just like with comedy, it got so dark. Like, I would be the only female sometimes, and men would be talking about the craziest stuff that they think is funny. That, like, I just joked about it. That's my own situation. I wouldn't
Right.
joke about somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
they'll joke about that kind of stuff. Like, oh, I witnessed such and such, or like the one Johnny Depp, that whole thing. I didn't pay attention to that because I don't like drama, right? But their stuff was crazy.
That is they, and I'm pretty sure that Johnny Depp made money from this situation because why they were on what is it, TMZ, Shade Room, all these outlets, they have to pay. I don't, even if like they have to pay out. There's no way. There's no there's no way they have to.
Yeah, it's
So win, lose, or draw, the victim's gonna get paid, the abuser's gonna get paid, the fan, everybody's gonna get paid some type of way. And it look at Jerry Springer, the Maury Show, Steve Wilkos.
yep,
Everybody's profiting from domestic violence. Everybody. It's
yep.
a business.
That's sad because it's not like, and again, sorry, I joked. I just joking about my situation. It's not funny, but again, people lose their lives and or get traumatized or they can hurt other people because of what they saw. I'm not saying this is okay. It's not okay. But think about how many people have been sexually abused and then they become
An
the abuser.
abuser. Exactly.
It's not okay. But I'm not saying, of course, it's not okay for them to abuse people, but it's, God forbid, it's not okay for a child to be abused. So if we think of it as in this is, it's not funny, it's not okay. Because again, these are precious lives that we're talking about.
And
And
also what we're doing, we're making people insensitive. So
yeah, right.
if you
So,
keep saying it over and over and over, it's gonna become like, oh, they're fighting again. Okay. Like
right.
that's what it is. And then they're normalizing, what is it? I don't know how true it is, but I'm hearing about some type of thing where prostitution is legal for 16-year-olds to do.
What?
Yeah. So,
Where?
New York.
Huh?
I've heard it. I don't quote me on it. It's alleged. but I heard it somewhere. They're promoting, what is it called, sex work for ages 16 and up.
Oh my gosh.
So now that's a whole different form of abuse.
What?
That will be legal if people don't pay attention to what's going on. That
Oh, that's horrible.
and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be hidden, tucked away in some other disguised type of bill. You know,
Mm.
it's the world we live in. It's money. It's all about money. Whatever's selling, that's what they're gonna do. They made weed legal. They tell you, oh, it has all these health benefits. Well, why not make it legal when y'all knew about the health benefits? They knew about the health benefits a long time ago.
Boy, I don't know. Control. The word of the day is control.
So,
It's with everything. People try to control, like, you know what I'm saying? And woo, it's the world is scary, to be honest. I mean, it's very scary, and it's just like it's when people try to control, or a certain person has control of things. I mean, it can go really bad. So like money, like you said, or government, or those. I mean, that's
mhm.
all control. And I don't know. It's just I see things and hear things now that I'm like, are you just like what you just said? That made me really shocked, and I hope it's not true. No offense to you.
Yeah,
That they
nah.
would allow that to be. That's just
But then you think
a
about it
shame.
though. You think about how the times are going.
Yeah.
You see how people are dressing nowadays. You see how people are acting. It's literally normal for somebody to be arguing on the street as loud as, like, people walk past that and act like nothing's happening. You know,
Oh, believe me. I
like
Yep. Been
it
through that.
it's getting to a point where not people are insensitive to things. People are insensitive to death. People are insensitive to violence. People are insensitive to sexual abuse because it's happening so much. They're showing it on TV. They're not reporting on it how it's supposed how it should be reported. Is it, and I can put it in perspective. Like the news spent what, maybe 2 3 weeks on Lady Gaga's dog, right?
I'm like,
So
what happened to her dog? I don't even know what happened to her
I
dog.
see. And where in this area, that's all they were talking about. 2 weeks, 2 3 weeks. They were talking about her dog got kidnapped. Somebody kidnapped Lady Gaga's dog, right?
I didn't even know.
But see, in that time frame, while they're talking about her dog being killed, somebody died from domestic violence. Somebody went missing. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? But our focus is on Lady Gaga's dog.
Oh my
You-
gosh. I see it. I don't pay attention to that stuff, I guess. But really quick, I heard that, talking about the sex thing, but they're, the trafficking is horrible. And
oh,
so of kids and stealing. I watched this thing, is it called Parent Type or something? It's a new show, and I only watched one episode, but it's really good. But they um made a fake scenario where the kids were supposedly left alone for a little bit, and they wanted to see if they would answer the door. And 3 out of 4 of them answered the door and let strangers in the house. It was horrible.
my,
And of course, it was an actor, thank God. But the doctor on the show said 2,300 and something kids go missing every day in the US, get stolen and missing. 2,300 a day?
a day.
That's what I'm saying. We're so oblivious to some. I am too. I didn't know about
I can
Lady
tell
Gaga.
you some stuff, bro. They found I don't know the exact number, but it was over 100, less than 1,000, but somewhere in between. That many kids in a bunker underground in New York. Some of the kids were pregnant, and they said some of the kids had never seen the sun before.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
That's horrible.
Kids had never even seen the light of day.
Mm, that's so sad. And I try to teach my youngest is 9. My boys are old. They're 21, 19, and I have a bonus son that's 16. But And I try to teach my 9-year-old. So I was so protective with the boys because I was thinking we were still in Baltimore, but we were in Ohio, and everybody's like, "Why are you being like that?" But with my daughter, she's a girl, and so the guy that I told you about, my fiance now, he grew up in a bad neighborhood in Mississippi. So literally, like, I think 20 of his people have died since we've been together in 4 years, maybe more. So anyways, but he teaches her not too much, but we're trying to tell her, and we're trying to say people are stealing kids. You cannot walk away from us. And she's 9. And then her friends get to walk around and do whatever. No. Because it's a real thing, and it's scary, and you have to teach them. Or like, my kids are mixed, like with my son, my one son, he was getting in trouble. Yeah, you can't be acting like that. You can't, unfortunately, it's not okay, but you can't talk back to the police. You can't do this, you can't do that. And it's sad, but you can't. And I told my oldest one too, and like all of them, like, you can't do that. And so that's the world, unfortunately, that we live in. And I've never wanted to say to my 9-year-olds, hey, this is what this means, or that you have to go with the bad touch, the good touch, and all this stuff. And like, if somebody tries to take you, you got to kick them, you got to scream, you got to do this. And it's so sad that we have to, but you got to make them aware.
You gotta tell them.
You have to. And that's something that I was so scared to do, but that's what he says to me. He's like, what, you want to find out the wrong way? Like, we've got to make her aware of there's bad people, unfortunately, in the world. And and so even though it's scary, the more aware and the more educated you are, hopefully you can see things and pick it up and try to realize that something could potentially happen.
I said the best thing to teach your kids is to speak up. Don't keep it to yourself, because that's how you get situations with people coming out 20, 30 years later, and it looks a certain type of way. And then just everybody tell your truth. That's it. That's it. Whatever your truth is, that's what it is. Can't nobody tell you that that's not your truth. That's what it is. Like, people are dying. Like you said, people are coming up missing. And it's so much to the fact that there are multiple TV shows about it. Like you said, you have Snapped, you have Fear Thy Neighbor, Fear Thy Spouse, Fear Thy Brother. I seen Fear Thy Child on there one time. It's so much going on. And once again, they're profiting from domestic.
That's true.
Once again.
Yeah.
So that's I've man. And you know what's crazy? I didn't think about it like that until I started talking about it just now. Because there's just too many TV shows out like that. Maury Povich, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know Jerry Springer used to be a senator. And and look what he's doing. So just tell us what the politicians are up to.
Yeah. And he's actually a nice guy. Like, for some odd reason, I don't know why, he was the host of the what is that show? What is the one with the, oh my gosh, that's so sad. I know what it's called. The one with the wheel that
The Wheel of Fortune?
No.
Game show?
Drew Carey is the host now. Oh my gosh, what is it called? It's been around forever. That guy that says spay and neuter your animals was the host.
Is that America's Funniest Videos?
No, what is it called? Anyways, whatever. Oh my gosh, it's one of the biggest shows where they win all
I'm about to Google it right now. Hold on, we're about to figure this out.
Drew Carey is the host.
I got it.
I'm gonna feel really stupid because I definitely know what it is. Oh my gosh, what in the world? What is it called?
It said Drew Barrymore is the host.
No, not Drew Barrymore. Drew Carey.
Drew Carey. Okay, my bad.
Drew Barrymore is a host. She has a show. Drew Carey.
Drew Carey. Okay, yeah, I have definitely seen. Okay.
Gosh, what is it called?
Let's see.
I don't even see it. Ba, 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 ba. Okay.
The Price is Right.
Oh my, yes. So, oh my gosh. So where I lived, so silly. Like, woohoo, I had a ditzy moment here. Okay. So where I lived, Jerry Springer was literally hosting The Price is Right, like traveling around and hosting it, which made no sense. So he was there and he was hosting it, and it was like an episode. It makes no sense again. I don't know why. And he really seemed like a nice guy. I mean, he made a couple of silly, weird jokes, but he seemed like a decent person. But again, money, like he's making money off of that. So
that's it.
crazy.
That is a business. Domestic violence is a business. Sex is a business. Human trafficking is a I could go on. I could go on so many tangents right now.
Well, you see me go on some, so I go down the rabbit hole sometimes because it's crazy.
It is, and it's relevant. It's relevant to the topic because let's see, domestic violence causes children to run away. Runaway children get trafficked.
Yep. Yep.
Or killed or raped or whatever happens to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's horrible.
It's never a good situation. So like I have some statistics here. I'm gonna read because like I said, people need to stop suffering in silence because you don't want to be on this list that I'm about to read. So an average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking. More than 12 men and women over the course of a single year are a victim of rape, physical violence, and stalking. They said men and women, 12 million over the whole United States. And that's just this country.
Wow.
So there is nearly 3 out of 10 women and 1 out of 10 men have experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking by a close relative or partner. 15% of women, 4% of men have been injured by a partner or close relative. 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 7 men, 18 and older, have been the victim of severe violence by their partner. It says over 12 million people every single year are in the are hospitalized by an intimate partner or close relative. 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 4 men in the U.S. has experienced. Well, oh, no, that's repetitive. It says the same thing. So hold on 1 second. Almost half, 50% of all men and women in the United States have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner or close relative. Women ages 18 to 24 and 18 to 34 experience the highest rates of domestic violence. From 1994 to 2010, 4 out of 5 domestic violence victims and rape were female. Hold on 1 second. 1 out of 4 children in the United States has witnessed a domestic violence situation. 30 to 60% of children have experienced predator abuse in the household.
Gosh. You said 30 to 60%?
That's what this is saying.
My gosh, that's horrible. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is crazy.
That is horrible.
More than half.
That's disgusting.
40% of child abuse victims also report experiencing domestic violence. It says one study found that children exposed to violence in the home were 15 times more likely to be physically assaulted or sexually abused in the world, like after they adults. It's crazy. They have stuff about 10. Hey, there's so many statistics here. It's just crazy. So 50%. I'm just about to start reading them at random because the list is what is it? What is one was I about to say? 57% of college students report experiencing dating violence and dating abuse and rape that occurred at the college. That's 57%.
Golly.
And that's out of men and women.
Mm.
58% of college students say they don't know who they can go to.
Aww.
Almost 1 out of 10 teens in the relationships have a partner tamper with their social media accounts, steal their phones, or any other type of form of harassment or abuse. That's the control factor again.
Yep.
Let me see. Approximately 84% of all domestic violence victims experience psychological abuse.
Yep.
It's crazy. 91%, 91% of employees say that they have experienced domestic violence and it has a negative impact on their job. They've been fired for it. 71% of women says they've been coerced by executives in sexual assault.
That happened to me too.
That
Well, sexual harassment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Control. That's what it is. Control.
Man, that is crazy. There's too much going on in this world. Over half of the kid. That is crazy, yo.
Can you imagine? Here's the thing. If you can't be safe in your house, safe at college, safe at the grocery store now, safe at church, safe at anywhere. I mean, the movies, I mean, like outside running. I mean, like we're just talking about more than that now, because that's all kinds of different violence that's not acceptable. But like if a little child, they don't have a choice, they can't leave, they don't drive, they don't have nowhere to go, and they're not even safe at home. That's so scary. I mean, and it's sad. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Crazy. And it says last year, 17,000 children died from domestic abuse.
Oh,
That is crazy.
that's oh, it's horrible.
So we all, as a community, as a country, as a whole, the world, we have to spread awareness on the situation. Because based on those statistics I just read, it's crazy. I didn't even read all of them. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. And a lot of those numbers was over 50%. So it's like over half of the country is literally going through domestic abuse or violence in some way, shape, or form. Over half of the whole entire all 50 states. Like that is ridiculous. So as an individual, if you are on the abuse, if you are the abuser, you just chill out. Relax. Go get help. For real. Because you don't want to do something you're gonna regret. If you are being abused, speak up. Tell whoever. Tell it don't matter. You don't have to go to the police. Tell whoever. Whoever you think you can trust and help you. Leave. Get out of there. It's not worth it. It's crazy. That is wild. It's too much going on. It's way too much. Way too much. So I'm getting ready to wrap up. So if you want to add anything, go for it.
Okay. So I just want to say that again, you're worth it and you are loved, and no matter what. And also, like you said, if you're the abuser, nope, stop. Because you might think that, I don't know what you think because I'm not on that end of it, but you can't bring back a life. You might go too far one day and then you can't bring back that life.
Right.
And what if you have kids with them? You killed your children. You're hurting your children because you killed their mother. You took that away from them. Even if the person doesn't have kids, you don't need to take a life. You need, like you said, get help, anger management, something. I don't know what it is, but do not hurt someone. That is not love. That's not love. And if you, I don't know if it's okay. Can I talk about my life coaching for like 5 seconds?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So if you're somebody that has, if you've been abused, you probably do have PTSD, but it can come from so many things. Or if you're grieving, and grief can come from so many things as well. It's not just from losing a person's life. It could be from losing so many things, a job, a relationship, a limb, if you get an amputation. I mean, so many things. And also if somebody passes away, of course. I would love to help you. And I am a life coach and I have been through a lot. And so I would love to help you get through it and change your mindset, because that's what we got to do. And it's hard, but again, if you're in the frame, it's hard to see the picture. So I just want to say that I love you. You can reach out to me. Can I say my email? Is that okay?
Yeah, you want to say whatever. I tell you, whatever you want to say.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So my email is authenticpointsofview at gmail.com. So, and I'm Danielle Booher, of course, and I would love to help you or just listen to you, because everybody deserves to be loved and to be heard. And like he said, you have to speak up. You have to speak up. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think, look at those numbers. Like, did you hear those numbers? So many people are going through this. Like, you're not alone. So that's what I want to say. And I want to tell you, thank you so much for letting me come on and talk to you.
Definitely.
And thanks for sharing your story with me. And you know, it's really important, again, for us to speak up and to hopefully help someone. So
got to. And even the kids, I know kids might not see this video per se, but if you're watching it with whoever, tell. Yep. Tell twice. Tell everybody. Tell whoever you can see. Just tell anybody. Tell any adult. Tell. Because why? It's gonna keep happening. When somebody feels like they got away with something, they're gonna keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until they do it too much, and then they can't do it because you done passed away or worse or something. Say, we all watch these crazy TV shows. These are true stories. Fear Thy Neighbor, Fatal Attraction. Those are real stories. Like, that really happened. So just keep that in the back of your mind. It's crazy. And as a whole, we got to stop supporting. We have to, I know we watch it to spread awareness, but some of these shows we could just stop watching. Like, we have to stop supporting domestic violence if we want to prevent domestic violence. There's no way we can have both. There's no way. It can't be a business if we're trying to get rid of it. So that's all I want to say on the topic for right now. We may do a part 2 on this same topic because it's very important. And after reading those statistics, I'm going to dig a little deeper and do some research, because that's just crazy. But on the podcast side, how do you feel about this episode?
Oh my gosh. I think it was awesome and informative. And thank you for doing those statistics, because I didn't even know. Like, I'm a part of a lot of those statistics, but I didn't even know so many of them. And it's really like eye-opening. So thank you for doing that. I think it's great. And like I said, it's really, like you said, it's very important. It's necessary to talk about this and to, again, know that you're not alone. So if you're going through this, you're not alone. Get help. So it was really good. You did great. I loved it. It was
thank you. And one last thing. out of the statistics, those are the people who reported it.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of people who never said nothing.
Right.
So yeah, that's that. So I'm about to hit the button and we are about to be off air.